This tutorial will explain the 11 different types of content modification requests that can be submitted to the US SNOMED CT Content Request System, USCRS. When submitting a request, choosing the correct type of request is important so the appropriate form will be displayed. This ensures that the most applicable information will be included so the request can be validated quickly. There are 4 ways SNOMED CT content can be modified. Users can request to add, change, create new, or retire SNOMED CT components. The next several slides will provide details about these different types of requests. One type of request is to add a parent to an existing concept. A parent is a relationship from a child concept to a broader parent concept at the next higher level in the SNOMED CT hierarchy. For example, ischemic heart disease and myocardial disease are parents to myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction is a child to ischemic heart disease and myocardial disease. Please note that in SNOMED CT, a concept can have multiple parents. If we focus on one branch, you will see that structural disorder of the heart is a parent of ischemic heart disease, and heart disease is a parent of structural disorder of the heart. Eventually, you will get to the top-level view of clinical finding. These child-to-parent relationships are also known as ISA relationships. That is, myocardial infarction is a ischemic heart disease. When you request to add a parent, you are requesting to add an additional concept that is related at the next higher level of the SNOMED CT hierarchy. You can also request to change a description, parent, or relationship. This is a request to make a partial or minor change to the existing SNOMED CT component that may improve the terminology. A request to change the description is to modify the fully specified name, or FSN, a preferred term, PT, or a synonym. The FSN represents the unique, unambiguous description of the concept's meaning. Each concept can have only one FSN. Using our previous example of myocardial infarction, we now see the description of the concept. Myocardial infarction disorder is the FSN for the concept. Please note that each FSN ends with a semantic tag in parentheses. The semantic tag indicates the semantic category to which the concept belongs. That is, the semantic tag helps to disambiguate the different concepts, which may be referred to by the same commonly used word or phrase. Myocardial infarction disorder is the FSN for the concept that represents the clinical diagnosis that a clinician makes when they decide that a person has had a myocardial infarction. A concept can have several synonyms. These synonyms allow users of SNOMED CT to use the terms they prefer. For this concept, infarction of the heart, myocardial infarction, and heart attack are examples of synonyms. To request a change to a description is to modify one of these description types. A change to the parent is a modification to the ISA relationship as we described in the previous add parent example. And a change relationship request is to modify the association between two SNOMED CT concepts. For example, SNOMED CT relationships link concepts to other concepts whose meaning is related in some way. These relationships provide the formal definitions for the concept. With our example, we saw the ISA relationship between myocardial infarction and its parent concept. Another relationship type is finding site. For myocardial infarction, the relationship finding site is within the myocardium structure. A request to change the relationship is to change one of the associations between the two concepts. You can also request to create a new concept, relationship, or synonym to the SNOMED CT terminology. This type of request is to introduce a new component that does not currently exist in SNOMED CT. A new concept is to introduce a new clinical concept or meaning to the terminology. A SNOMED CT concept is defined as a clinical idea to which a unique SNOMED CT identifier has been assigned. A new relationship is to request for a new association between two existing concepts. The nature of the association is indicated by a relationship type. And a new synonym is to request for a new word or phrase that means exactly or nearly the same as another SNOMED CT concept. You can also request to retire a component, that is a concept, description, or relationship. To retire means to move the status of a component from active to inactive. Thus, a request to retire a component is to request to no longer allow the concept, description, or relationship to be used. And finally, if your request does not fit into one of the described request types, there is an other category. We hope you found this tutorial on the 11 types of request helpful. NLM welcomes your suggestions to improve this new system. Please send questions and suggestions to the NLM customer service, custserve@nlm.nih.gov with the subject line US SNOMED CT Content Request System.